If you are checking us out, welcome to Q&A Corner. I'm going to pull up our two of us that are here today. So can you see us, Mateo? You have no idea what's going on right now, do you? Like, you can't see anything. So you are...
I see you. You're
Awesome.
a bit laggy though.
Awesome. That's okay. It's because I'm like streaming and there's some dropped frames that are coming through. So I'm going to just change some bandwidth settings quickly.
Definitely got friends.
Dropped frames. Let's see if we can change that. Stream output. Let's go down a little bit more. That should fix the dropped frames, at least in one of the settings. Okay, I'm going to change the settings over there.
Seems a little bit better.
Okay. So, am I getting any more dropped frames? I am getting a couple. Let me turn that off. Turn this down. Settings. Bandwidth. Let's set that even lower. There we go, that should fix it. Hopefully that's a little bit less laggy for the wonderful viewers that we have on the live stream, which I'm not actually sure if we have any viewers on right now. So we're down from 1 to 0, but that's okay.
Well, it's the start. It'll get better.
It is always the start. These things happen very slowly to get off, and we're doing this every day just so we can see who's interested in checking it out on what days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see.
Seems like Tuesday is not popular. So far.
That's okay. It's okay. Just seeing if anybody's popped in the meantime. It's reloading some stuff on my end. I'm also loaded in using my using my home Wi-Fi, so it is much slower than where I was yesterday. Yeah, so why don't we get started, because this is going to be recorded. So I'm just going to I'm going to jump through. So first off, everybody, welcome to Q&A Corner. My name is Andrew. This is me, and I am pumped. Me being very laggy. Let's see if we can fix that. See if we can get rid of that, and then let's add it back in. Let's go video capture device. Okay. And there we go. It looks like I'm alive again. Awesome. So I'm gonna just throw myself back in there. Just give me 1 second, Mateo. So this is me. I'm Andrew, and welcome, like I said, to Q&A Corner, which is part of our Tech Bytes series that we're doing right now in the transition online. This wonderful, wonderful person on the screen before you is Mateo. Mateo, do you want to say a little bit about yourself to everybody?
I'm a computer science student doing my master's. My undergrad was in electrical engineering, and I'm currently working as a staff for HighTechU.
Awesome. So let me pull back in my audio source there, because I think I need to do something a little bit different. This is a fun exploration. So we're going to copy the reference over to here, and then we're going to paste reference. Oh, that's not what we wanted to copy. We want to delete that. Whoa. Remove. Okay, we're going to copy a different reference. We're going to copy... Where's our video? Things have gotten very out of hand. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to copy this. Copy reference. And now we're going to... copy. There we go. And now we're going to paste into here, paste reference. All right. It seems as though we should be good. Now we've got video playing on that scene. We've got video playing on that scene, but it's a little bit too big. And let's go and make sure that we're playing over here too. It's not, so we're going to delete that. Yes, I want to delete that. We're going to copy this video. Sorry, Mateo, you're hearing a lot of stuff that's going on in the background here. Just trying to get everything set up. Paste reference. There we go. Now we are cooking with fire. I got a bunch of stuff loaded up. There's my news page there. Don't need that loaded up. Pull it over to that. All right, so we're back to you, Mateo. So, Mateo, now that we are back and working, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? So, what brought you to study computer science at University of Victoria?
So I started in electrical engineering back in the United States, and my I was really interested in that, but I was also leaning toward computer science when I was doing my undergrad. I started with a minor, and I was planning on doing a master's. And in my senior year, I started research with my now advisor, who is more focused on bioinformatics, so like computer science and biology mixture. And she was moving to UVic, so I joined her, and so I'm now doing my master's here, and I'm working on mostly bioinformatics related projects. Like I'm doing one on structure prediction. There's another one focused around translating this already created project to a new language called Seek, and then other than that, just going through classes.
Nice. So, what's Seek? Tell me about that.
So, Seek was a language created by not my advisor, but my friend's advisor, Ibrahim. It's supposed to be kind of combining some of the pluses of Python and C++ and focusing on bioinformatics. So it's the format or the structure of the language is more Python formatted, but it's supposed to get roughly up to the speeds that you can get in C++. And then as the benefits of everything's kind of tailored around bioinformatics. So one of the things you do in bioinformatics is you have to read certain files like BAM and SAM and etc. And these have pre-built things made for that. And so what we're doing is that we're translating this bioinformatics program called SETF for segmental duplications. And we're basically changing it from it's in C++ currently, and we'll be translating it to Seek over the course of the end of the semester.
That's awesome. So, how are you finding this transition with all of this coursework and everything to the online world? Are you feeling good, like you were prepared for this chaos that we're in right now, or are you feeling?
I think I'm pretty lucky in that my field is computer science, and that a lot of things, well, maybe it would be easier if you can do face-to-face contact, can still be ported online, unlike a field like biology, I think, which would be more difficult. Um, Overall, I would say that other than the change in what I do day to day, I don't think it's affected my coursework too much, which has been lucky.
Nice. Nice. So, what's your favorite thing about computer science? Like your favorite thing about studying computer science?
Um, One thing that I really like, and it goes back and forth because sometimes it can also be a pain, is that I feel like when you're designing things, it's kind of like a puzzle. So you're just trying to like figure out how to make it work. And I think that that can be really interesting, especially when you finally solve it and get to do what you want. I think that's really exciting. And
Nice.
usually what I'm looking forward to.
So, what's the coolest thing that you have been able to, I guess, build in your student career, your like life? Just what's the coolest kind of project that you've had the chance to work on?
Computer science related, or
I
does it
mean,
have to
could
be
be like engineering, computer science related, just like a technical
uh,
project that you really enjoyed.
one? I think what I was really is more electrical engineering focused, but what I was really excited about was over the course of my senior year and my summer, I was working as a design engineer. And I was working at this company. I was basically creating this remote uh, and this module that was on the wall that converse with the remote. It uses like RF transmitters, and I found that really exciting. Just uh, the actual building of it, because like it started off very confusing, like the electrical engineering aspects, but then as you kind of work with it, you kind of start to understand it a lot more and get used to it. And the I wasn't able to finish it completely before I left for the school year, but it was really exciting getting to work on that, I would say. It felt like it was a really nice application of everything that I'd learned through my undergrad, which I
Nice.
think is what was so exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm interested in sort of the transition because that sounds like a really different project than what you're working on now. So how did that happen?
I had always been really interested in biology. I was originally I was thinking about going to biology field when I first started. Um, I was in neuroscience in my freshman year for the first semester, and I'm more mathematically minded, I would say. So electrical engineering was a good switch, but I still had that kind of interest in biology. And the my school did not have a uh, uh, biomedical engineering, biomedical engineering,
Yep.
until my like junior year, so I wasn't able to get into that. But the research that I was doing with my advisor is biology, biology related, and it was applying the computer science I was getting really into during my junior and senior year and sophomore. And so that was the start of the transition. But um, it is a very different field than what I guess I was originally studying.
Yeah. So which is your favorite? Like, are you really enjoying this now? And kind of you do you miss like the electrical engineering stuff that you were doing at all?
Um, a little bit. One nice thing is that, and it happens over the course of the summer, is you can't with computer science you can't really like break anything, at least not like physically. Like maybe you'll create an error that you have to like move back to try to solve like how do you put it in there. But like during the course of the electrical engineering project, it was kind of like uh, let's say you soldered something on and the solder touched a little bit of another uh, point on the board, and maybe those were became fused, and you turned it on, it could break. Or like something was accidentally switched. Like let's say for the remote, if you put on the battery wrong, so the wires were mixed up, then power goes to ground, ground goes to power, and it probably breaks. And there's a lot of like uh, you're kind of working through problems, but then it can cost money because if you break something, you have to remake it, and that also takes time. While with computer science, I feel like uh, there isn't that um, chance of that happening, which I think is really nice. Um, was the question which one I liked more? I forget.
No, that's no. You're doing great. Yeah. Well, it was kind of like which do you like more, but I mean, there's not necessarily an answer for that, right?
Like I'm more, yeah, I would say that I'm glad I did the shift to more computer science, but I definitely still have my interest in electrical engineering,
Nice.
which is why I'm doing the hopefully the summer cohort with electrical engineering.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So what is this electrical engineering cohort that you're talking about?
So for the summer cohort, um, that'll be kind of focused around doing kind of teaching high school kids some basic electrical engineering and then getting them on some projects. So we're originally going to do it with more Raspberry Pi interface, but due to the switch online, we're using a software called Tinkercad, which will be Arduino, which works well because that's what I was working for or working with during the summer. And that will basically be they get to create their own kind of projects that will elicit some kind of task. Maybe it would just be like a transmitter that does something, um, or a you can do like a color organ, which basically creates different sounds and different turns on different LEDs. So that could be a potential project. But then we're more focused toward like the uh, health field, smart field, and then one other uh, environment. So we'll be trying to focus on projects that kind of lean toward that area.
Totally.
And so over the course of the cohort, we're basically be trying to get them get a better understanding for them of what kind of goes into electrical engineering, and then get them started on some projects.
Nice. So what is the difference between between like a Raspberry Pi and an Arduino? So for people that maybe watch this stream and don't know what the difference is.
I mean, like, I think the one big difference is that you kind of you have more leeway with what kind of like language you want to use in a Raspberry Pi, while with Arduino you're just using the Arduino language,
Okay.
which is kind of like a C++ or a C language, and I there's not too big of a difference from what I know on the what you can do with them. I think the Raspberry Pi is a little bit more or a little less limited in some aspects, but I think they both work well with what they're trying to do, which is be kind of like a small computer for your project.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about Tinkercad, like what is Tinkercad?
So Tinkercad is kind of like the online software that allows you to both do 3D modeling work, and then also circuit work. So for the circuit side, you have the option of using like just a plain breadboard if you want to do that, but that's not really where we're focused. And then you can also add the a Arduino. It's a virtual Arduino, which basically accomplishes the same thing. And then you give the option to program. So you have two ways of programming. You can use blocks, which is the simpler aspect of it, or you can actually do the coding. And or there's also the option of you can do the coding with blocks. So you can see how the blocks relate to the coding, which I think will be useful. And you kind of you're given the ability to do what you could do in person, and it seems like it works decently well, and you're able to do that online now. So it seems like a good program for what we're trying to do.
Nice, nice. So you obviously you came from electrical engineering over to computer science, and there's obviously some overlap that's there. How did you teach yourself a lot of what you know about computer science and programming now, or was that all like did you get some of that when you were doing your undergrad? Like, what was your sort of pathway to learning about a lot of this stuff to get ready for the programming world?
I did get a little bit. I think my first programming introduction was my second semester freshman year, and we were doing MATLAB, which is like the only language that engineers really learn. Uh, and it was really hard at the time because I hadn't done it before. I feel like with coding, there's usually a learning curve. Um, and I found it really fun what you could do with MATLAB. And like MATLAB's not even like, it's more used for like linear algebra. So it's not even like uh, the applications don't even extend as far as what some others can do.
Yeah.
And then my sophomore year, I decided that I kind of wanted to do more computer science stuff, and I studied a minor, and I worked with like Java, uh, that year, and then I went into more the theoretical stuff, and then back to the application like Python and stuff. And the uh, that's kind of how I got into computer science, I would say.
Nice.
It was
Um,
like an interest that I decided to see if I wanted to follow.
yeah. So what's like the dream? So obviously you're doing bioinformatics now. Where would you love to be to end up? Like working for BC Cancer, or like where's kind of the dream place for you to work with bioinformatics stuff that you're doing?
It's definitely a harder question. I think that with bioinformatics, a lot of it's kind of it's definitely more focused, less so industry wise, and more focused on the what is the word? I'll say education, but that's not the word. But so like I'm thinking about doing a PhD in the future after my master's, and then I've not decided where I see myself working at though.
Nice. Well, there's plenty of time to figure it out, though,
Academia.
right?
Yes, definitely.
So I'm gonna show everybody a couple of projects and sort of talk about a little bit about that process. So you were a project owner, or a product owner, like a team lead for the academy. What was that process like? Like what is the academy all about?
Um, you mean what is the academy all about? Uh, I think it's kind of the focus, or one of the focuses, is kind of getting extending the knowledge that uh, people may have in or may have gotten through college, and being able to kind of apply it to people who are thinking they could be interested in it in high school, and getting them basically like I know a lot of high schools don't have as many options with regarding to that. I know mine didn't when I was in high school, and I think it kind of gives like a nice uh, segue into what they think their interests could align with when they move toward college. Um, and I think it's kind of like getting to work with uh, people that might be in the industry currently, and getting them to understand what it's like for those people, and if it's something they're interested in, and then also just getting connecting those students with all the resources that are out there. And I think that's kind of like the important aspect of it.
Yeah, totally. So I think I'm gonna see if I can do this. I'm gonna try and share my screen with you, so you're seeing my screen instead of my face,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna try and switch over on here. So let me jump over and try and figure out how I can make this happen. So I think I'm gonna try. How do I share my screen over here? Share screen. All right. So I'm gonna share this over here. Okay, can you see my the tech, but like the HighTechU website right now? Or is it just blank for you?
I can see it.
Okay, awesome. And then I'm gonna go over to our stream, and I think I've already loaded. Oh, look at that! I can see that stuff on there, but I'm gonna go to a different screen. There we go. So now I can do it over here too. So you're seeing what I'm doing on my screen, and then everybody else is seeing what I'm doing on my screen too. So this is awesome. Yeah. So I just wanted to show folks sort of a little bit more. So obviously we're doing Tech Bites right now, but I wanted to show everybody the portfolio of all the projects that have been done, and then maybe we can kind of show the project that your team worked on, Mateo. So this is our member project repository.
Hmm.
So you can go, if anybody's on the call and they want to check this out, it's just hightechu.github.io/portfolio. And you can check that out and see what it's all about. And when you look at this, you can see all of the projects that have ever been completed by HighTechU students. So we've got some, and there's some that are like really awesome and easy to show just because they're working really well. So these 5 projects were the first year that HighTechU existed. These are the first 5 that were done. And then I think these 6, yeah, these, these 8. So these 8 projects were last year, and then these 4 are the ones that have been done this year. So I'm gonna show open space just because it's always a really nice, cool, straightforward one for people to see how it works. Just because it's a browser game that's been totally built in HTML, CSS, so I should be able to load it up, and it's pretty. It's all static, so you don't need to worry about it loading things. And let's see. Yeah, so this was this was built by a team of I think 7 students last year, which is pretty cool. And basically they built this entire thing to be operating in a browser. Even the logic for generating all of these stars that are going in the background were all designed by those students.
Stars.
Yeah, the stars that are in the background. Yeah, and so you can submit a title, and you can go in and get some information on the project and like who built it, and then you can like get a link to our website and stuff like that. And they have options that they were building out in here that I don't think work right now, but there was going to be like audio settings and all the rest of that fun stuff. And then if I go back to the portfolio, so again, it's hightechu.github.io/portfolio. What was the project that your team was working on, Mateo?
I was just in the top right, the Papyrus City.
Oh, yours was Papyrus City. So what was Papyrus City?
So my group, what they wanted to do was create kind of like a book review app that basically allows students to find open source books. They're using a API called Gutenberg, and then they wanted to make it so they could kind of rate them, and then in the future, if they go back to it, it'd be kind of being able to recommend it to friends, and then just give the option to read any of the books within that API at the same time.
Nice. So how does Papyrus City work right now? So what can I do, I guess, is my question on Papyrus City.
So at the moment, so inside the search bar, you're able to search for books. So in the case of, let's say you do Dracula, uppercase D, you would list all versions of Dracula that is inside the Gutenberg API.
Nice.
And it is not currently set up to do the book option. Something they're going to add after. And then you'll have the option of doing likes and dislikes for each of the books, and then doing reviews for each of them.
Awesome.
And then they were able to add a profile option, so you can create a profile, but there's not as much created toward that yet.
So if I go in here, I can actually create an account?
Yep. And then you have to log in as well if you want to do that. But then there's not much for the profile currently. They have not added anything for that.
Nice. Can I change this? Can I change my username, or not yet?
Not at the moment.
So what was kind of the most difficult part that you found about this process for the team that was working on it?
I think a big hardship that they were facing was interacting with the API, and that was kind of focused around they had it, but they couldn't. Especially one of the members couldn't really figure out how to get the information to display in the way that they wanted it. and then how to get the specific information, like getting the book and then being able to display the book, or getting the all the authors and then in the book titles, etc., and then being able to display it how you want. And then even now they have the problem of like you can search Dracula, but you can only do the it can only be spelled the exact way. The keywords don't work yet.
Okay,
But
so if I go ahead and search like Dracula lowercase, it won't find it. No, doesn't
nope.
look like it. Okay, cool,
So I think the API interaction is probably the hardest thing that they're facing,
nice. What's an
and where
API?
they um an API is kind of like a I would say it's kind of like a area that they're pulling information from.
Okay,
I'm not 100% sure on this,
no, that's okay.
to be honest.
Nice, but I like that you can actually go in and like check out the books. It's kind of cool. And how many weeks did they build this in? Like they conceptualized this whole thing and like built it out, not knowing each other, and how long?
I would say that they probably put in roughly like 5 weeks of work. So like the first week was kind of trying to decide what they were going to do, and then the last week was more designed around showing it.
Nice,
So the middle 5 weeks, I think, is where they put in their work.
awesome. Yeah, this is very cool. I love this. Yeah, so this was a really cool project that was made by the team this year. I think like I'm always interested to see how these projects can go out, because they get like to a certain point and then it'd be amazing to see these projects like continued afterwards. But it's nice because we at least have them live, and then they're hosted on Heroku, so that they can kind of reset every day, which is really cool. And so it gives like a good demo system for us to show here's how it works. And then what's really cool, what I really like, is that if you're like a person who wants to just check out the source code, let me see if I can go back to that. Oh, not that one. Keep going back. Oh, there we go. So you can actually go into GitHub, and then you can see that there's like all the source code that's in here. So you got like the demo and all the rest of this, but you can also see like all of the commits that were made. So here's all the different changes that were made over those 5 weeks. And you can see obviously these things happened on Saturdays where a lot of the work went in. So really they did this over like a couple of different Saturdays, which I think is pretty cool. Pretty cool to have something that's that cool that's built from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, so I think that's kind of it for today's Q&A corner. I don't think that we've got any new viewers that have come on, but I just want to sort of take a second to go back and just say thank you to Mateo. I'm going to pull you up again, Mateo, and I'm just going to change my screen share so you're not seeing that anymore. Stop screen sharing. There we go. So now we can see your face again. Awesome. So yeah, we can see you again, Mateo. Thank you so much, Mateo, for coming on to the Q&A corner today and letting me ask you a lot of Qs and having a lot of As, and for talking about some of the projects and your kind of journey in tech. For everybody else that's on the call, definitely Q&A corner. It's happening every day this week, so feel free to check it out. And then Tech Bites, our next Tech Bites session is tomorrow afternoon, and it's by our friends at the White Hatter. So again, back over to Mateo and me. Thanks everybody for an awesome visit and for dropping by and checking out Q&A corner. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.